We're back with our first game with Bolas in the 101 series. Opponent has a companion just based on the stop. Obosh. So likely a red variant. This hand has all acceleration, no payoff, but good chance some of our acceleration is going to die, so... Now where else go? With surprise, a red land. Surprise, a burn. Nope. End the festivities. Interesting. I think you'd wait to see if I had more Dorkos before playing that one. Interesting. So, they got a second one, more power to them, I guess. Mono faces Kakuzan. Okay, so we go Kiora. Hopefully her opponent doesn't have Goblin Chain Whirler or we're just getting destroyed next turn. Phoenix Chick, okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we can storm the festival potentially next turn, as long as everything lives. Opponent going face, which they probably should. Alright, that saves us from the problem. Once again, opponent has red removal. You always want to go with targeting lands. Nicol Karn. Okay. What do you even get against mono red? Haywire Might to block? Is that what we're doing here? Guess it's just Haywire Might to block. Could try to get the Sky Sovereign for next turn. For now, we're just getting Haywire Might, playing that as our thing. Fortunately, we're not going to gain the life because we're going to have to probably... Unless they decide to go face. If they go face, we're definitely not blocking, but... Wow. Opponent with double in the festivities. Don't really feel good running this out, but I mean, if we'd drawn like a Cavalier or something, I think we'd be in this game. Maybe even Old Growth Troll. But they get to fire this up, kill Kiora if they want to. Still have 2 cards in hand. Mm-hmm. Guess I should have actually untapped Boseiju, or untapped one of these to have Boseiju up. Because now they just get to kill Kiora. I mean, Kiora was probably more than we could hope for there. Mm-hmm. Alright, so even if we kill something, take 3, so we'll take 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, so he's still dead in many different ways. Alright, did see the downside of Bolas there. We even kind of predicted what deck they were on based on their companion, and still kind of got smoked. Granted, I wasn't prepared to play around deal 1 damage to all your creatures multiple times, so interesting tech for our opponent. Particularly good against, well, mana dorks, and that's really about it. Maybe okay against spirits and humans. Kill like Athalia, maybe a token from Adeline. You can kill multiple spirits potentially. But that's got to be primarily tech for Mono Green and Gruul. Okay, I am playing a 61 card deck. Nice. Forgot to take out the other copy of Teferi. I have to mulligan this hand. This hand isn't much better, but I do think we keep it. Notably, our opponent's burn spells will kind of be useless in the early going. Okay, apparently had multiple 1-drops to choose from. We play with Nissa. Caryatid's okay, but not really going to fit in the card particularly well for a little bit. Okay, Phoenix Chick being a 2/2. Alright, our opponent just like all the 1-drops. Let's go ahead and force them to have with all the 1-drops. If they have play with fire or something, we're just losing everything anyway, so Possible should have blocked etchings, because this is going to get exiled. Yep. Alright, let's fix that deck list, but you can definitely see why mono red is a problem for mono green whenever it shows up. Now this is a semi-interesting hand. 1-drop plus Dork, couple Oath of Nissus to try to find redraws for lands. I'm inclined to keep this one. That we can cast Bolas if we ever get to 5 mana. So the interesting part about something like the mono red deck that our opponent was just playing, I have no idea what. Oh, so we're probably up against Lotus Field. Okay. So mono red is a nightmare matchup for burn or for green. However, Rakdos kind of dumpsters it, so that's kind of where the meta is at with the aggro decks when they do show up. Mono green struggles against the aggro decks. Rakdos feasts on them, so that's why it's kind of become this weird mid-range nightmare. Put it with Boseiju is interesting. Oath of Nissa. Okay. We hit a Karn, which is nice, nice. Oath of Nissa. Hitting a land. Might be a bit too slow here on the draw. Put it with Vizier to untap. They have Arboreal Grazer into... Oh, they can't copy it this turn, so I'm not sure what our opponent was trying to do, other than hold up Boseiju maybe. Yeah, I don't like this play whatsoever from our opponent. Turn off auto yields. Did not mean to go to combat there, but 1, 2, 3. So I can Karn this turn, but I don't know that we can actually get anything that matters. I guess we could get Tormod's Crypt. Opponent obviously has Boseiju in hand. Karn. Go get Crypt to keep them from Lear comboing us, I guess. Not that that's usually relevant, but that said, our opponent has 6 mana lined up, which is not good for the home team. So even without a Thespian stage, which they have, so. 4 mana? Mastermind's I was gonna say. Impulse, sure. I was like, Mastermind's Acquisition doesn't make much sense there. If our opponent doesn't have Hidden Strings, this is a bit of a risk because then I can just go grab. Now I can just grab Damping Sphere and completely shut off their mana. So they have to find another green source to open up Boseiju again. So we find Nykthos. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We could. Presume our opponent has another green source, otherwise they can't unlock their mana. Unless they have Boseiju with Boseiju. Pour over the pages, pitch a card. This is another matchup where not having Godfur's statue is going to come back to hurt us a little bit. Okay. Mastermind's Acquisition. Probably have to grab what, Hidden Strings? So the downside for our opponent now is the standard builds of Lotus Field may not be able to win from here because Mastermind's Acquisition is the only way to get any type of win con from the sideboard. Now, they could have Fae of Wishes, so it's not like a guarantee, but I think I'm going to go ahead and torch their graveyard now. Sure. Someone's trying to go grab some type of another anti-hate piece. Sure. Maybe blow up Nykthos, maybe? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So I can do this, play Kiora, untap this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We could just play Storm the Festival, alternatively we could just play Nicol Bolas. I think I'm inclined to get Bolas down here. Kill their Vizier. Opponent may literally have no other way to win the game. Like, they pitched one copy of okay. Behold the Beyond, sure. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 mana, or 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So we have 8 mana currently to work with. This is where Bolas might be able to go to work. Let's now go decide how to approach their hand life situation. Or they got rid of Besaju. Okay. So green, 7, 8 mana. Another Cavalier. Only find another forest. Play Kiora. Which will leave us with just enough mana to untap and activate Nykthos again. Which once again is an absurd amount of mana. Storm the Festival. Find that plus Karn. Keep this Karn. Do that, yes. Go grab the Stone Brain, play the Stone Brain, name Fae of Wishes. Okay, so Voyaging Satyr, Lear, Version Ultimatum. So what I'm effectively seeing is they have access to Lear and Voyaging Satyr to win the game. Other than that, they cannot win the game. So, sucks to be our opponent, I guess. All our planeswalkers have been activated this turn, so just pass the turn. And yep, you got an Omniscience. Cast Impulse, sure. Urgent Ultimatum, fine. I'm not giving you Leer. Like, literally the only card left in your deck that even kind of matters. This is where having other knowledge of other decks in the format is tremendously useful, even in a deck that's quote-unquote a no-brainer like Mono Green. Because this game is... The game is over. Our opponent's win cons are Lair of the Hydra, which they already pitched, and Mastermind's Acquisition to fetch a win con out of the sideboard. They did not have Fae of Wishes in their list. There is no additional Mastermind's Acquisition. So their literal only win cons left are beatdowns with Voyaging Satyr and Leer, Disciple of the Drowned. So they are dead. Because Dark Petition can only fetch cards in their deck. Okay, these cards are exiled. Put a card back in their library. I choose Dark Petition, because Hidden Strings is completely useless. But if our opponent wants to keep playing a game, we'll let him keep playing a game, even though it's already over. I'm trying to think if there's any backdoor way that they could win this game. Vizier of Tumbling Sands beats, I guess, which are a 3/4, a 1/2, a 1/2, and a 1/2. So I just got to make sure not to play my own copy of Lair of the Hydra, because if we did that, they could theoretically copy it with Thespian Stage and win that way. So yeah, our opponent's pretty dead here. Alright. They finally realized that they had no way to win the game. To be fair to our opponent, this is a practice room, so maybe they didn't realize that they had no win cons left, but now they'll board in some type of win cons to make sure they're not just dead to an extraction effect. They could bring in something like Zakama, they could bring in something like Sphinx of the Final Word. Trying to think what other things are common in Lotus Field decks. But Pioneer, Hidden Strings, Dragonlord Dramoka, Elder Gargaroth, all kinds of interesting Cityscape Leveler, Dragonlord Dramoka, Zakama, Dragonlord's Dramoka, Approach of the Second Sun, Zakama. So, once again though, if you're building mono green, you really, like, I like this sideboard, a lot of it, but you really don't want to not have God Pharaoh statue. Because this is like the second matchup in this like series of matches that I've played in one day, which I'm doing the mono green variant, the Teferi variant, and the Nicol Bolas variant all in one day worth of play. So I've played like all of these matches back to back to back. And God Pharaoh statue would have closed out the game against, is it Phoenix? It would have closed out the game against Lotus Field here. So, but it is nice that at least we're getting like tier matchups or like tier-ish decks other than rogues that we've played today. We played against Grace Fang. We played against Is It Phoenix. We played against Mono Red Aggro. We've played against Mono Black, which isn't necessarily tier, but is at least a deck that people know and recognize, and I see quite a bit of it on the Explorer ladder. So it's nice to see that you're playing a bunch of, like, even in a Pioneer practice room, that we're playing against a bunch of tier opponents or tiered decks. But alas, our poor opponent. Okay. Alright, so we have Karn, we have Boseiju. So I think we keep his hand, even though Bolas is a bit of a mulligan. And they have Arboreal Grazer. Looks like they do. Yep, which accelerates them, which means potentially a turn to Lotus Field. Alright, so we're going to go turn 1. Final War Elves go. Opponent gets to play Lotus Field this turn potentially. Why would you cycle Vizier there? Pithing Needle naming what? Karn? I mean, they could name Nykthos, but it doesn't work. So, name Karn the Great Creator. There we go, they figured it out. Alright, at least we have something to do this turn. Our opponent will not be able to threaten Kior in any meaningful way, and they won't be able to, unless they have another Arboreal Grazer, they're not going to be able to Lotus Field plus copy it this turn. So Fading Hope just bounces creatures, right? Turns out a creature. Yeah. One, two, three, four, five. Nothing much we can do here. Could play Karn, but really need to hold up Boseiju into Karn next turn. Alright, let them copy that. One's already gotten rid of their island, so they might have a forest left. Or never mind, not going to allow them to fetch. Failed to find a basic. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we have just enough to do it. Karn into yes. Into Damping Sphere. To untap. Damping Sphere, go. Okay, sure. Okay, so they have the green source if they have the Boseiju. Okay. Stone Brain. Cast the Stone Brain. Activate the Stone Brain. What am I even naming? We already have that. So we could name Boseiju. Could name Masterminds. This will allow you to name. Okay, search for 4 cards. Okay, so Boseiju who endures. So they bring in any additional win cons. They brought in older Gargaroth. So their hand is a whole bunch of stuff they can't do anything with basically right now. And they have one of Natural State and one of Natural State and they have Odawaru. looks like they have one of natural state too. So opponent's hand is Hidden Strings. Sure, they drew an Impulse, which is fine. They're clearly looking for natural state to unlock their mana. One, two, three, four, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Okay. So they're going to can't cast anything because of Damping Sphere. Has more text than just you can't tap your lands for colored mana. So am I missing another Waru in this mess? No, I am not. Alright, so plussing on nothing. Play another Karn, keep this Karn. Grab, what am I even grabbing at this point? Pestilent Cauldron, Chariot, Needle, Transmogrifying Wand, Chain Veil, Darksteel Citadel, Haywire Might. I think we just grab Chariot for now. Yield through the turn. Opponent can finally cast their copy of Sylvan Scrying. But what do you even get? Guess they could get Lair of the Hydra. Maybe try to win the game that way. Nope, Temple of Mystery. Think you boarded down Odawara. Doesn't seem smart. The festival. Alright, let's just end this game, shall we? Grab the Stone Brain. Where did the Stone Brain go? Where did it go? It's in my exile cards. There we go. Go ahead. So the only thing I'm seeing that can blow that up is Natural State. Other Gargaroth we can just kind of overpower, so I'm not terribly worried about that. Just name natural state. Yep, they literally have like nothing else I care about. They have hidden strings, dark petition, like all these cards that literally don't matter. And then sure. Okay. And then we pass. Like, they can hidden strings here, which kind of what they gotta do. They do Gargaroth once again, it's like literally irrelevant. Oh. Pour over the pages, sure. They can't even cast like half their deck right now because they have no black mana. They will not have an ability to get black mana either. So this game is, unfortunately for them, pretty well over. Damping Sphere, once again, it has context. Alright, so 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Go ahead and plus this on nothing. Play Storm the Festival. Get a Karn and a Caryatid. Okay. Keep this Karn. Tap a land. Play the other Nykthos. Keep this one. Play Elvish Mystic. Go ahead and go, because I have nothing else to do with my turn right now. I'm going to cast probably another Pour Over the Pages, which is fine. So the one backdoor way that we could lose this game is if our opponent is able to sacrifice their Boseiju or their Otawaru and destroy Damping Sphere. So I think we're just going to, let's see what's even in our sideboard right now. Haywire Might, Transfire Mold, Chain Veil, Pithing Needle. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Let's just get this game over with, shall we? Once again, don't want to play Lair of the Hydra, giving them a way to potentially win the game, so... I guess then cast Impulse, sure. So they need, like, sacrifice Boseiju or Notawaru, play Balagid Recovery, get one of them back, so just closing the game out is just going to end this. They could, like I said, they could have Elder Gargaroth, but we have ways with Transmogrifying Wand to deal with that, so... Our opponent has ways to get out of this puzzle, but it's just so few and far between at this point that... Vizier, I mean, yeah, you're cycling cards, I guess. And it's not a spell, so it helps, but... Okay, Thespian Sage, that's certainly a thing. Okay, Hope Tender, sure. Again, we don't want to play Lair of the Hydra, so what we're going to do is go grab, yes, grab this guy, shoot this guy, and no matter how you block, you're dead. All right, figured that's a good stopping point. We'll be back one sec with a wrap. So quick wrap on this. Both Bolas and Teferi really didn't show prominently in the matchups that we played with either one of the decks. Bolas this time kind of got stuck in her hand a couple different times with no Oath of Nissa. So that is one of the problems when you're playing these like off-color planeswalkers, is if you don't hit them off Storm, or you don't hit them off of Oath of Nissa and be able to cast them for the alternative cost that Oath of Nissa allows you to do, both of them can kind of get stuck in your hand. Neither one of them is particularly good against fast aggressive decks like Mono Red. That said, most of the format's not about that right now. Most of it is about kind of this mid-range slogfest. You will run into aggressive decks on occasion, Mono White, various Spirits variants, Mono Red variants, etc. So it's not like it's... But the format's more about Greasefang and Rakdos midrange and Gruul midrange and Is It Creativity and Fires decks and all these other kind of midrange slogs. And really, those are the matchups that Nicol Bolas and Teferi shine. But the matchups we played today, no such animal. The other note is when you're playing mono green, make sure you have your sideboard the way you want it. Godfar's statue could be a little bit redundant. You saw we were able to beat Lotus Field without it. We were able to beat Arclight Phoenix without it. So, with a copy of the Stonebrain, a copy of Tormod's Crypt, Damping Sphere, etc., you got to decide how many lock pieces you kind of want, how many things you want for creature decks, etc. Like Transmogrifying Wand is not something I usually play in most of the variants that I play. I figure you already have Sky Sovereign and the Mightstone Meekstone that deals with the mass majority of creatures that you could potentially care about. This is nice against like a flip thing in the ice or something like that, but in general, this feels like a bit of overkill, so you could easily have a Godfar's statue in this place. But overall, you kind of got an idea of different matchups with mono green in each of the 3 different subsets. I could do one with Vraska, but that one's kind of really fallen out of favor. Maybe I'll do it at some point when I'm kind of rounding out the video sets. But you now have a couple different video sets with just straight mono green, a couple different video sets with Nicol Bolas, with Teferi. You have a mulligan guide. We're going to be doing a deck matchup guide here in a bit, and that should pretty much wrap up all kind of the basics of mono green. If there's anything I haven't thought of that, if you're trying to learn mono green or learn how to play against it, that you might want to see a video covering, let me know down in the comments. as I'm always looking to expand the library selection that we have on the channel. But that's going to be a wrap, and we have one more thing with mono green. And if you're sick of mono green coverage this week, as the videos are coming out, there will be kind of the matchup guide for, you know, the top decks of the format versus mono green. And other than that, we will be switching to other content for a little bit. So if you're sick of mono green, we will be moving on from it. If you're watching this to watch the mono green content, then there's plenty of a playlist both here and for stuff from my Explore channel. So don't forget to check that out, that playlist, if you like mono green. And hope to see you for the next video.